Two Hearts Dance and Yoga's Heart to Heart series. My name is Leanne Barber, owner and movement creator at Two Hearts Dance and Yoga. And it's my pleasure to bring you some light of inspiration during this time. Today, it is my pleasure to have Sarah Gemmell, owner of Gem Fitness and founder of the Gem Fit Squad. She is a life and fitness coach helping women to improve their physical and mental health with workout programming, nutrition coaching, and meaningful mindset coaching. Sarah has a BA in psychology and worked in addiction counseling before switching to the fitness world. She is passionate about her psychology background and counseling experience to help women make major transformations in their lives. She strives to make sure all of her Fit Squad feels good in the skin they're in, and she's a real gem when it comes to pumping up the positive energy. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Awesome. It's so good to see you. It's wonderful to be able to tune into you from anywhere. You were virtual before any of us were even forced into this world. How has virtual training been for you over the summer?
Over the summer, it's been crazy. We did experience a little bit of there's always a flow, right? Where like people are really good and really into it, and then we kind of dip down, and this is just how fitness goes. So when people are on vacation and stuff, it's interesting though with the pandemic, it's like, are people going on vacation? Like some people are, some people aren't. So we had an interesting summer, but it has been crazy in like the best possible way with this whole virtual thing. So
awesome. And you are like just gracefully working through it. I love tuning into all the things that you're doing. It's really cool to see how you're growing and to see all the lives you're changing as well. So kudos to you.
oh,
very cool. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you started in the fitness world.
Sure. So I actually grew up outside of Philly, in a suburb outside of Philly, and I went to college for psychology. So like that was always my plan. I think I decided that when I was like 15, like I'm going to go to school for psychology. I'm going to be an addictions counselor. That was something that was always like very, it wasn't always near and dear to my heart in the sense of like I want to help people, but my brain has always been so interested in why people do the things that they do. So it was just kind of a no-brainer. Went to school, got a psychology degree, and then I was married to a guy in the military. We ended up moving to Kansas, which the social services are okay, but there wasn't a whole lot available in that field in terms of jobs. So I ended up with this job teaching a drug and alcohol education class for young adults. And I freaking loved the job itself, like working with the students, being able to kind of create my own program. Part of the program was going to the gym. So like we're teaching you healthy coping mechanisms, because when you're stressed out, like smoking weed is not the answer, right? So we have to teach you these other ways. So we would go to the gym twice a week. And then when I went through my divorce in 2016, I was also dealing with a lot of conflict at work. And it wasn't just like minor like tiffs. They were like major arguments just all of the time. And I feel like my energy was not being met. Like I was there to help people, and I really like was very emotionally attached to my students. And then like other people would come in from a place of funding or fudging numbers or whatever, right? And not helping people. And it was just, it's too much. Like I can't be depressed at home, stressed at work. Like I was just miserable all the time. And I'm the kind of person that just does not fly for. Either fix one or the other, and home life was out of my control. So I actually I quit my job, and I went over to the gym where I was training my students, and I was taking them to the gym, and I was like, hey, I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to go get certified as a personal trainer. Like, will you hire me? And they said yes, but then it took them, like, I think they were just kind of like, okay, like whatever. But me being like me, right? Every single week I would like pop my head in and be like, hey, right? I'm like, so are you going to hire me yet? Are you going to hire me yet? Like, I haven't heard from you. And it was just every week. And my parents always joked with me as a kid, like I get what I want because people just want to shut me up, and I'm okay with that. with that. So they hired me while I went to go get certified as a personal trainer. And that's how I transitioned into the fitness world. So I went from like very traditional working for a gym as a personal trainer to eventually morphing into like self-employment on the side, and then like virtual stuff, and then more like coaching instead of just personal training. And then last summer, the stars just aligned and I ended up 100% self-employed. I was working for a gym and it just was this perfect opening where I'm like, you know what, this isn't working anymore.
Awesome.
You
Yeah.
know? And so I went 100% self-employed last summer, and then this summer was COVID, and it's like,
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's really amazing to hear kind of your journey and what led you to where you are now. I love, that you shared your background in addiction counseling. It's something very near and dear to my heart as well, and helping others to kind of find those alternatives that are going to help them cope, help them heal, and just help them find a better lifestyle. So thank you so much for sharing that and, your passion for that. But then also being able to transition into something that is just helping you as well, going through a hard time and finding those challenges and kind of, creating your own world so that you can find happiness, you can find the things that are rewarding to you. So congratulations on all of that. Really great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing.
yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned your psychology background. Tell us how it has helped you with connecting with your clients on a day-to-day basis.
I think the biggest thing with my psychology degree is like, I'm so interested in how the brain works and learning and behavior and motivation and all that type of stuff, that like, it's not just here's your workout program. It's not just here's what to eat, right? Because that's a lot of what fitness programs are just by nature. But that what makes it sustainable is the actual behavior change. Like if you don't know how to create awareness of what your patterns are and then to actually figure out why they're happening and how to change them, you can't possibly make a sustainable change in your life. It's just not how it works, right? So like the biggest I've noticed in probably the last, I would say probably like the last year, I've noticed that that's usually what like tips people over the edge in working with me. It'll be like, okay, cool, she does the workouts. Okay, cool, she does the nutrition. And then they're like, wait a minute, you do psychology too. And I can explain the basics of why we do what we do. You know what I mean? So like when you come to me, you're like, I'm not motivated to work out. And it's like, that's actually not true. And all
Right.
the social media influencers who are like, motivation's not real. They don't understand psychology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like to be able, I think that's the biggest thing, right? When we can explain to a client why we want them to do what we're asking them to do, it's a lot more meaningful. They become a lot more invested in that actual behavior. And now it's going to be simpler, not easy, but it's going to be simpler for them to continue to follow through on because they understand the why. So when you understand psychology, you can explain to them the why. And I can geek out on some psychology. And like, I always think like, okay, Sarah, get off like the soapbox for a second, but my clients eat it up. They're like, no, keep going. And I think that's what really makes the difference, right? In the behavior change, in the overall like mindset shift.
Yeah, are relating to, either their physical change or their mental change. It kind of drives it all home for everything that you're doing. So thank you so much for sharing that, and kind of how your process is in connecting with your clients is awesome. Very good, very good. So you talk about transformations and have mentioned how important it is to have a healthy mindset. What are some mindset shifts that you have made personally to help succeed in your life?
I think the biggest thing, and I say this all the time, like the number one thing that needs to happen is increasing and like creating first and then increasing self-awareness. You can't do anything if you're not even aware of the problem, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. You can't fix what you don't know. So like creating that self-awareness, and it's painful, right? Because it's not just like self-awareness, like, oh, I'm really good at time management. It's like, no, I am triggered. I know that I have a lot of wounds, if you will. I know that I have a lot of these like inner child behaviors. Like you have to get brutally honest with yourself about where you like, they're kind of like your pitfalls, right?
Yeah,
Or
and that's like the work that people don't want to do. It's not easy.
no, it's not. And it's almost like the brain doesn't want to admit that we're not good at or what we fail at, right? But like perfect examples, like when you get in an argument with someone and like you can go back and be like, okay, I did this and I probably shouldn't have, like this thing that I said or this way that I acted, like I overreacted or I said something I shouldn't have. Or, when you have a limiting belief about something, being aware of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm coming from a place of trauma or fear, and that's why that is what it is. And like to be able to be that self-aware, I'm obviously a work in progress. I don't think anyone has perfect self-awareness, but I am painfully self-aware of a lot of things. And that makes a big difference because then I can say, okay, how am I going to work through this, or how am I not going to do that the next time? And this is huge in business, in health, and in relationships. Like it kind of goes across the board. You have to be self-aware in order to do anything. So a lot of times when I work with people, what I'm helping them really do is to create the self-awareness, right? And like I had to do that for myself. I had to learn how to do it for other people. And that's really powerful because like if you're talking to me and you say, okay, Sarah, well, I'm going to get on this workout program, but like I self-sabotage and I never follow through on anything. And then you just kind of keep going with your story. And I'm like, okay, back up a second, right? And I'm like, here's what you just told me. Here's this limiting belief that you just said. And when someone says it back to you, you're like, huh, I did say that. So like doing that for yourself is hard. Sometimes you need someone else to do it. But I think that's really the biggest shift I had is the self-awareness piece, because that kind of just domino effects into everything else. And then like dealing with limiting beliefs, dealing with anxiety. The limiting beliefs is huge, right? Going back to the self-awareness, what are the limiting beliefs? And then how do you actually work through those, right? And it's like so many fluffy things on the internet, like write your affirmations, like, okay, cool, right? I believe in affirmations and I tell clients to do them, but like, why, right? And how does it apply to this situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for sharing all that. And I think that is something that totally goes across all things. So whether it's fitness, whether it's kind of your mental health, whether it's business, trying to, succeed in your career, all of those things, really finding that basis of self-awareness and being comfortable with who you are, understanding kind of where your pitfalls are and being able to move on from there. So thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for kind of showing how people can incorporate that in all different facets of their life. It's super important.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Sarah, as a business owner and a boss babe yourself, what challenges have you had to face with starting Gem Fitness? And what challenges do you continue to face present day?
How much time do we have? Because
I know, right?
oh gosh, starting a business, I say this all the time. I started my business to like train people, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, like I'll be a personal trainer. I'll charge 20 bucks an hour. This will be great. I'll be my own boss, make my own hours, and I'm going to make so much money. No, no. No one told me I had to do marketing and sales and management and like email marketing and tech and website development. And I'm like,
yeah, it's so many hats, it's ridiculous. But
yeah.
it's your baby.
And like, I didn't really run my business as a business until I found out I was going to need a spinal fusion. And that was kind of like my oh shit moment of like, I need to like get this together because I'm about to be out of work for 6 months. So like, right. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to hire a business coach. And then I hired my business coach and I'm like, I have to do what? Like, what's a sales page? You mean I actually have to have a plan for social media? Like what? So my challenge in the beginning was definitely like what it actually was to run a business. And then what comes with all of that, learning all of the things, then implementing them, talking about mindset, just feeling like I wasn't good enough, or feeling like, you know, I can't charge that, or I'm not going to find clients, or there's not enough clients, like that scarcity idea. I went through all of that. You know, I went through all of that. Now, I think the biggest challenge for me is giving up control in having a team and I have the best team. Let me just tell you, they are absolutely amazing, but I'm just not used to, like, I make my to-do list. It's like 50 items long, which I do not recommend. Okay. It's way too long, but it's just me. So I'm like, okay, do all the things, but I'm like, no, I need to go through this list and figure out what can so-and-so do and what can this person do. And like delegating has been a challenge. And then like, there's always limiting beliefs, right?
Yes.
I was just talking to, who was I talking to? I forget who it was. Yesterday on Instagram, I was sending a voice message to someone and I'm like, listen, when you're like, we talk about manifestation.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing with manifestation is figuring out what the limiting belief is and then manifesting the opposite, right? So for me, I know that the program is awesome. I know that what I do works, but it's like, who's going to buy it? And that you get really uncomfortable. You're like, oh my God, I ran out of people to buy it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then it's like, no, you didn't. Right. There's just like a major mindset shift in scaling a business. Cause now that the business is doing really well, and you know this, right? Like, okay, you got like a really good core client. You got these really good core clients.
Right.
And time to get more clients, to hire a bigger team, to offer more, to do this, to do that. And it's like,
yep.
You know, like imposter syndrome, you know, like who am I to run this business? And who am I to think that my business is going to become a network marketing company? Or who am I to think that my company is going to be worth millions of dollars someday and that I'm going to have thousands and hundreds of thousands of clients? And then you're like, oh, that's right, I'm a boss ass bitch. And that's part of that shift. And that's just like those thoughts come in. But the difference is what you do with those thoughts once they come in, because they can completely paralyze you, or you can be like, oh wait, that's right, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's so relevant. Like those thoughts where you're like, can I do this? Or it's like those moments where, you know, like you don't feel 100% ready. And it's really, you're never going to be completely ready. That's like something that I tell to people all the time. And you totally just mentioned that. It's like, you have to put things into motion, even if you don't think it's the best, or you don't think, you know, whatever you're doing is going to get clients, or maybe you don't think that, you know, you can even do it. It's a matter of kind of throwing yourself out there. And I think, you know, you speak to the mindset where it's like, you just have to kind of believe that, I don't know, there's a divine power out there that's going to, you know, whatever you believe in,
right.
But knowing that just putting the initial actions into motion and just kind of trusting that things are going to work out is kind of the best advice that you can tell anyone. You mentioned like the planning part of, you know, running a business and those challenges, absolutely. But a lot of it is kind of, you know, doing the best that you can for your plan, and then kind of just putting it all into the wind and seeing where it goes. So you are absolutely living that success.
You know, a lot of people want to wait until like things feel perfect, or feel like, I hear this all the time, I need more confidence before I can do this.
Yeah.
By just doing it is what's going to build the confidence. Like we're so often waiting for the confidence to take action, but we need to take action in order to build the confidence, right?
Yeah.
And like, life is never going to be not crazy. Like if you have kids, if you run a business, if you have a job, if you have pets, like things are always going to be coming up. So to wait to feel like you're ready, or when life calms down, like truth of the matter is life never calms down as an adult.
No, it doesn't.
We're always dealing with something new. And you hit the nail on the head about like not feeling ready. I was just talking about this with my website girl. because we launched a new membership site for the program.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like all the things we want to add or improve. And she's like, all right, cool. And I said to her, I'm like, I'm so glad that we didn't wait until we were ready to launch this, because it would have taken us 6 more months, because there's always going to be improvements. There's always going to be things that we want to add. And it's like, we just launched the basic of the site. We got the clients on the site, and now we're going to make improvements as we go. And it's like, my clients would have waited another 6 months for that membership site if we would have waited. And like, why? You know, there's no point.
That's really good. And I'm glad we're like having this conversation, because I've asked people about this before, and you just gave like the most real answer there is to it. It's like, there's no perfect plan. There's no sense of, you know, things are going to be completely perfect at this time on this day. We just kind of have to believe in ourselves and doing the first action. So thank you for being real about it. Awesome. So kind of continuing, what would you say to someone, I know we just talked about, you know, you kind of answered the question that I have, but what would you say to someone who is thinking about starting their own business in the fitness industry?
Definitely, like the confidence and the readiness thing definitely applies, but I think you have to really evaluate why you want to do it and why it's important to you, because I think a lot of times we just think of like running a business as, I get to make my own hours and I get to do whatever I want, and like I'm going to make so much money, and that these things are true, but they also come with extreme hardships. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be in business for years before you make any kind of good money. Okay. And like, you know, you're not going to be rolling in a mansion in a Rolls Royce in 2 years. Okay. Like, it's just probably not going to happen that way for you. And like, it's a roller coaster. And I say this all the time, at least once a month, I am ready to quit. Like, ready. I'm on Indeed.com searching for a job, like ready to quit, because that's just how it is. And that's just like the roller coaster. Sometimes I'm like, yes, I'm amazing. This is awesome. Who will hire me?
Yeah.
But you have to be okay with that, and you have to be ready for it, in the sense that like, it is hard, and you're going to have to be extremely persistent. You're going to have to be extremely mentally tough. And if you're not willing to do those things, or if the reason why you're going into it's not good enough, not like strong enough, it's probably not the best fit, or you just need to figure out a more important why.
Yeah, exactly. You have to love it. At the end of the day, you have to love what you're doing. Honestly.
I'm obsessed with my business.
Yeah.
Like, obsessed. I think about it 24/7. I dream about it. I will like not go out on the weekends because I would rather stay home and make a sales page. Like, it sounds absurd to people who don't run a business, but if you are not willing to be obsessed with what you do, not that it won't work, because it might, but like, you really do have to be obsessed with it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to love it, because it's not for the faint of heart. I will tell you what.
So true, and that is so real. You absolutely have to be obsessed. Awesome. I'm really happy to hear that we share the same sick obsession with our businesses. So last question for you, Sarah. What is in the future for Gem Fitness?
Oh boy, a lot. So we're actually hoping, not hoping, it's actually already in the works. So we're going to be building up a coaching program to allow other women and other coaches to come in and build a coaching program on our platform. So they'll be able to be like an accountability coach. We're going to give them a platform to have a community. We're going to give them the workouts, give them the nutrition. So it's going to look a lot like some of the network marketing companies out there. But I have a very, very strict rule that my coaches must be qualified individuals, and we won't do multi-level marketing. So even though the coaches will be under me, they will not be allowed to bring on coaches under them. And they are going to be required to be a qualified, certified coach in order to call themselves a coach on our platform, because this is not like pay $50 and call yourself a coach. So because I just think it does a disservice. Right? We need to make sure that clients have qualified individuals to work with them so that we're not, in fact, harming them more than we're helping them. Because that happens a lot in the coaching industry. And this goes for any kind of coach, right? There's no regulations. So I can make an Instagram account, call myself a coach, have no regulations, no certifications, and I'm not really ready to help anyone. Really, a lot of coaches are just glorified friends.
Yeah.
To be a friend, you know, and then they don't show up that the way the client needs them to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, if you're not ready to be a coach, but you have people paying you to be a coach and you don't show up for them, you're really damaging them and you're really hurting them.
Yeah.
And we are dead set against doing that. So I'm super excited about it, though. We're bringing on more instructors to offer more classes.
Cool.
We're going to be building this accountability coach program. So we'll have a bunch of different coaches running their own teams for our program. So I'm really excited about it.
Oh, that sounds so exciting. And I love that you emphasize the need for quality, certified, real coaches, because that is so important, especially working with people. You know, you really want to create that credibility and you really want that quality behind everything that you're doing. So I commend you on that. That's really awesome. And thanks for sharing that with us. We'll look forward to seeing it. Let us know where people can tune into you, where people can train with you. How can people learn more about you?
Definitely. So the easiest place to go is going to be www.gem-fitness.com. So gem-fitness.com. That has all my social links. It has a place for you to take a free class with us. It has all of the information. You can also find us on Instagram at the GemFit Squad, GEMFIT Squad. So that's going to be the best place to find me. Those are the easiest.
Very good. Well, we look forward to seeing great and wonderful things coming from you as always. And thank you so much for being here on behalf of Two Hearts Dance and Yoga. We really appreciate you sharing all of your awesome positivity and uplifting advice with us. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks.